Now, when I first tried out the new T7 315 HD earlier this year, I immediately fell in love with this cab. It's so quiet. 66 decibels, what's not to like? But the questions I got asked by the people that watched that video were, when are they going to bring this cab onto the models below the 315 HD? And when are they going to find a model that fits in between the 270 and the 315? So here it is, the one you've all been asking for. T7 300. So she's 280 max horsepower, boosted to 300. So it fits in really well between the 270 and the 315. Plus the other thing about it is she's about 2.5 tons lighter than the 315. New Holland reacted very quickly to that request, for that desire for a 300 horsepower tractor. Now obviously it's been in development and they've had it up their sleeve for a fair while. But as I said, it just seems that, you know, they listened and bang, here she is. Now that sounds almost reminiscent of the story of the P-51 Mustang fighter back in World War II, which ended up being one of the most successful and legendary fighters of all time. They went to the designers and said, look, we need this aircraft. And from the day the designers started to draw something up and actually flew the first aircraft was something like 115 days. New Holland have listened and done exactly that and came up with the T7 300. Speaking of the Mustang, but the Ford Mustang car, which was also legendary for its styling, New Holland haven't disappointed with the T7 300. Look at the styling of this. Things like this, like this power bulge that actually houses the variable geometry turbo, but you know what I mean. And these grills, these vents up here. Anyway, I mean, I said about the Mustang car, but this is built in Basildon. It's a real Essex piece of kit, this is. So it's probably more like, you know, the Ford Capri. Do you know what I mean? Proper Essex, all the way through and through. Okay, other improvements. Obviously, with the new cab, you see you got that wider access, and that is brilliant, let me assure you. It's much easier to get in the cab. Oh, they've also moved the washer, windscreen washer bottle here. They've increased the capacity from around 400 litres up to about 465. So that's a lot better. Something else I've just noticed. Now, if you remember, on the 315, they'd moved the wiper from being up there, and to give a better clearing arc, they brought it down here, and it got to about there, but they've improved this even further. So they've got all that area now clear. That is very good, because that's something we actually did mention. Around the back end here, again, you can see they brought back those spool release levers, which we all loved. And as I said, they were on the 315, absolutely brilliant to see. They got them. And they've covered the back in up here, which is good. Now this one has got just normal sort of sprung suspension on there, but there is an option now to have hydraulic cab suspension. So that'll improve the ride no end. Not that it's bad as it is, but as I said, that's going to be available as an option. Now, when I did the 315 HD review and we showed the stop button here on the fenders, I've never had a comment section, I've never been contacted so much on Messenger and stuff like that about this. People absolutely love this, and the question that everyone was asking is, why hasn't this been done before? So, you know, hats off, New Holland. That is just an absolute industry changer. If you want to know more about that, go to that previous video I did on the T7 315 HD. I'll put a link to that at the end of this video and in the description box, so you can go and watch that video. We really do, you know, look in depth at the cab and how quiet it is. I'd like to see this rolled out on every other manufacturer's tractor, because New Holland have really set a standard now, and that should be an industry standard without a doubt. Okay, well, we already covered this in the previous T7 315 video, and if you're not sure about it, go and watch that, because honestly, like I said in that video, it may seem strange to most people, but until you've tried this, you won't believe how good this display in the centre of the steering wheel really is. Right, here's something that's a bit different now. This one has got a start-stop button. I quite like that. Now, another feature is a wireless camera system. And if you press this button up here, that then activates it. So what you can do then is mount this on the auger of a combine or a forager spout or even a potato harvester, and then when that machine comes into range, the image would appear on the screen here. Now at the moment we've got the rear facing camera on, but if we had this wireless camera all plugged in, then yeah, you could actually look from the view of the auger on a combine, as I said, or an elevator or something, into the trailer behind you. Now, we all know about how when you've got a tractor with a large square baler, how the tractor with the ram stroke going backwards and forwards makes the tractor physically dip and dive each time. And then you see that little puff of smoke from the exhaust every time that ram plunger comes forward. Here's what New Holland have done. So if you connect your large New Holland square baler on the back of your tractor, plumb it all in, and then plug in the isobus, the engine then learns the ram stroke of the baler. And every cycle where that plunger comes forward and you get that surge on the engine where the engine has got to overcome the actual physical draw on the engine itself, the engine learns that. And just before that ram stroke comes forward, the engine injects a little bit more fuel. And that leads to a lot better power delivery, a lot smoother, without the engine surging and puffing out all the while. And this is the best part. You'd think with injecting a little bit more fuel just before that stroke, you're going to use more fuel. No, the tests have shown that by using that system, the engine uses up to 12.7% less fuel, because it's running more smoothly, more evenly. There's no spike, there's no power surge. Now I think that in itself is absolutely fantastic. Now other things, such as this, they've beefed up the front axle to handle all the power. Now with the front linkage, this goes down all the way down to the floor, but sometimes you need just that little bit extra. And by using this buttons on, the controls on here, you can get it right down, and then you can override and get it to actually kneel down on the suspension to give you that extra bit that you might need. Right, well, as you can see, different set of conditions today. We've gone from hot, dry and windy to a lot more calm, overcast. We've had a fair bit of rain, but that's not a problem, because as you can see from this crop that was drilled just a few weeks ago, it's looking really good. Now that's already got me thinking, because, you know, it's not going to be many months before this is up and going through the combine, and that means straw, and that means the ideal opportunity to try out the T7 300 on a New Holland big baler and to try out that baler mode. So stay tuned, and if you get the chance to try out the T7 300 yourself, go and do it. Right, dog. Right, we better go then. So we'll catch you on the next one. Do well.